Let's talk about Alien Earth and its final episode called The Real Monsters. So last night we got a hell of an episode with Emergence. We saw that everybody is at everybody's throats now, and it looks like Wendy is definitely lost all humanity she has left in her, and it's going to be interesting to see where she goes from here. So I know a lot of people have said that they're not really vibing with the show anymore, that they don't like the turns and twists it's taking. I kind of see where you're coming from, but to me, I know that show seemed like it was going somewhere in the first 3 episodes, but just let it cook, let it get to the finale, and then we'll see. If they can nail that finale, then I think that we are definitely in for a treat for the future of Alien and what exactly they could do with it, because it feels fresh, it feels new, and I'm here for it. So in this latest episode, we saw Smee and Slightly try to take Arthur to Morrow. They had the incapacitated body, but eventually Arthur was killed when the chest burster came through and escaped. This caused Morrow to get pissed at both Smee and Slightly and try to find the creature, but it didn't go well because Kirsch eventually ambushes them all, takes Morrow hostage, and takes Smee and Slightly back with him and says, you know what, boys, you're grounded. Now in the next episode, we're going to see that Morrow will be in jail, it seems, or in custody. Seems to be a little bit beat up, as you can see from the teaser that we're getting, but I think he still has another plan up his sleeve here. Now I don't know if Kirsch is really trying to get Morrow out of here and doing this for Prodigy. It seems that Kirsch is really against Boy at this point. Boy has just been belittling him and calling him names and not really appreciating him. So I think that we're seeing Kirsch take a twist and a turn now, and I'm curious to see how he will eventually, in my opinion, will happen in the next episode, is he will betray Boy. Boy is losing it, as well as he seems to want to have somebody fuse with the eye, and I think that the person that it's going to be in Boy's mind might be Joe. I think that Boy is going to realize that he needs to punish Joe for what they attempted to do with the escape with Wendy and with Nibs, so he could choose to do it with Joe, but I think, in my opinion, who we're going to see eventually fuse with this eye is going to be Boy himself. That would be the ultimate karma. Boy becomes an experiment himself, just as he has been experimenting on the Lost Boys as well as with these creatures. Now Boy's on the receiving end of that, and I think that would definitely be something interesting right there. So the final thing we saw this episode as well is that Wendy, Nibs, and also Joe tried to escape. They know they don't have the trackers on thanks to Arthur. As they are reaching the boat, a group of soldiers try to stop them, but Wendy, of course, earlier in the episode had released the xenomorph that she's able to communicate with and asks it to pretty much wipe all of these soldiers out, to the horror of Joe seeing this. Joe doesn't know why Wendy is doing this, and he feels a bit conflicted. As they make it to the boat, however, Joe's friends eventually ambush them and try to get them back. Wendy seemingly isn't going without a fight, neither is Nibs, as they kill some of the soldiers and attack them. Then we see that Joe double crosses both of them, shooting Nibs, incapacitating her, as we see Wendy in shock yell at Joe for what he just did, and we see her xenomorph friend just watching in the distance. So in the next episode, of course, in the trailer, we realize that Nibs isn't dead. She was just incapacitated, but it looks like she definitely is going to be losing her mind a little bit more, and it's going to get a little scary with Nibs, I think. We also see that Kirsch is holding a gun now, and this is the first time I think we've seen Kirsch really take the offensive, so I'm very curious as to who exactly he might be speaking to here. We see that Dame is sort of losing it now, realizing the horrors of what they did with the Lost Boys, and maybe sort of feeling that they need to do something to fix it for these young kids. Also, we see a new creature in the back behind this soldier, one of Joe's friends. It looks like an octopus of sorts. People are saying it could be that plant creature we've seen before finally spawn out, and I'm curious to see what exactly that will be. Boy as well seems to be on the brink of insanity and trying to figure out what comes next, and to me, I think Boy and the Eye are just a match made in heaven, and we're going to see that creature eventually come out. Wendy and the Lost Boys seem to also be now incarcerated, not going to be let out that easily. I think that Boy has completely lost it here, and he is losing the keys to the kingdom, and it's just going to go downhill so quick. Yutani will be proud. The final shot here is of Wendy saying that they shouldn't be scared, and maybe they should be scared of them. And we see the xenomorph, which I think is the one that came out of Arthur, because it looks different from the one that's Wendy's friend, attacking some soldiers here. So in the next episode, I think we're going to be seeing the finale. I think we see Boy become a new creature of sorts. It would just be karmic for him to become the new experiment. I think Joe and also Wendy will definitely become close again, but I think that Wendy won't try to follow Joe anymore. I think she sets out to do her own thing, and they will be with the new xenomorph that she has befriended. I don't think she becomes friends with this other xenomorph, the one that came out of Arthur, and we could see both xenomorphs go at it with one another. I think the ultimate victor here is going to be the Eye. I think the Eye has been planning a huge plan throughout the beginning of this story, and I think it's finally coming into motion. And wouldn't it be crazy if the Eye were just to want to like fuse with Boy in order to control Prodigy and become that much more powerful? We do know that the Eye is capable of intelligence, as Boy has said, so I think we could see that happen here. I don't know exactly how Moro will make it out of this. I think at the end of the day, all he wants is for these specimens to get to Yutani. That way his work doesn't come off as futile that he did, and I think he'll see that, but I don't think he'll survive long enough to be there during all of this. So I don't know. I feel very much so for the Lost Boys. I just don't see all of them making it out. We see that Curly is starting to also kind of break. We know that Wendy is probably the more like strong-minded one, so we could see her be the one that makes it out of this untouched, but I also think that she will become more in tune with the xenomorph. But let me know your thoughts and your opinions on the latest Alien Earth episode coming out next Tuesday. I'll have another theory video for each character coming out over the weekend. Stay tuned for that. We'll also recap the finale. Very excited to talk more about it with you. But let me know what you thought about last night's episode. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Check out my video where I break down some of the things that happened, my reactions and thoughts. But this was just going off of what I think is eventually going to happen. I think Hirsch will betray Boy and lock him into a room where the Eye will get to him, just so Kirsch can experiment and see what happens here. I think it would just be karma for Boy to become the new experiment and under Kirsch's thumb. So very excited for this next episode. Cannot wait. Let me know your theories, your thoughts on what happens next. What do you think happens with Wendy, the Lost Boys, Moro, Joe, all of that? I think that they all go their separate ways. I don't think all the Lost Boys make it out, and I think some of the creatures are unleashed onto Earth to wreak havoc, and some of them are captured by Yutani, and a new world is starting, and it's going to be horrible, and it's going to be crazy, but hopefully we'll get another season. We'll see. As always, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. 50,000 subscribers is the goal. Let's get to it. Stay safe, stay positive.